know how that goes with me. I gotta go back here and check this load. They put fucking logistics bars in here, and then they just threw the shit up on top and didn't strap it down. Alright, so I'm gonna give you a quick example of working for a company that's got their shit together, because I want people to know, like, so when I first got into trucking, right, there was a bunch of bullshit going down and like waiting and all kinds of stuff like that, right? And I didn't know the difference, because I was just like, well, I guess this is just how fucking trucking is, you know. I gotta sleep over here in the alley, and I gotta sit here for 4 hours and get unloaded, and, you know, all this different kind of shit that was going on, right? Not having backhauls ready after I got empty. I'd get empty, and then they'd be like, alright, well, we'll find you something, and then you'd sit there for 2 fucking hours after you were empty, like waiting for a backhaul. You know, shit like that. This dude right here, see, he was here before me, and I'm gonna get unloaded before him, because my company made an appointment to be here. He just came in willy-nilly, and his company didn't do anything. Now, it's probably not his fault. It's probably not the driver's fault. It's probably his fucking dispatcher's fault for doing it. So it sucks for him, you know. I'm not saying like, haha, motherfucker, I'm getting unloaded faster. I don't mean that at all, because I am for the truck driver, you know. Did I ever tell you guys that I appreciate you guys watching my videos? And I appreciate all the comments and the emails. That's cool. You guys are cool. And it gives me some shit to do, my little YouTube hobby, because I'm out here on the road alone all the time. And the paid parking app. Use that shit, man. Like, if you're working for a company that's squabbling about paying for parking, fuck them. Fuck them. I mean, I agree, like, don't use that shit every night, right? Like, oh, for instance, so when I left Michigan, right, I knew I was shutting down in like Missouri, Oklahoma, somewhere in there. I don't even remember, but I knew the time that I'd left and everything like that, that I would be able to find somewhere to park. So I didn't use the paid parking app, because I had plenty of time to get down here. I had plenty of leeway to find parking, yada, 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 right? So I didn't use it. Parked at a rest area. But I knew that when I got to Dallas, and the whole idea is to get in as close as you can to your receiver, right? I knew once I got down to Dallas, even though I did get down here at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I knew that Flying J up there in Anna would be full, because it always is. It's probably fucking full right now, you know? So before I left Michigan, I reserved a parking spot down in Anna, Texas, on the app, the handy app that you can actually use your points for as well. And I did that last week too. So that's pretty fucking cool, man. I didn't have to sweat it, you know, like the whole time coming down, like, oh shit, am I gonna be able to get parked? Am I gonna be able to get parked? Because you might see, oh, another truck stop that's an hour and a half out, which is, you know, not terrible, but it's not a half hour away like that one, right? But then you might be watching it the whole time, and then all of a sudden, fuck, you're a half hour away and the sumbitch is full. And then now what do? You're already in here now. Now you got to come in here to the receiver and sleep in their parking lot or something, right? It's just stressful. So I wouldn't recommend using it, you know, like, just because your fat ass don't want to get out and walk. You know, like, oh, I can be closer to the door if I pay for parking. I mean, unless your company don't give a fuck, then whatever. But, you know, there's certain places that you just know you can get in. When they first started doing the paid parking, I was like, oh man, what's up with this bullshit? You know, they fucking charge us to park, blah, blah, blah. And then after a while, I realized, like, yo, this paid parking is actually kind of cool. Because if you didn't have paid parking, there's no way to reserve it. It's just fucking first come, first serve. So, you'd be fucked. If it was up to me, I'm alright with them fucking doing the whole damn parking lot paid parking. Because the company can pay for that shit, you know? Like, they're doing this load, you know, let's say the load pays $1,700. They got, you know, vehicle maintenance figured in. They got fuel figured in. They got the driver figured in. They got their insurance figured in, blah, blah, blah. All this expenses figured into the load, which are a lot of fucking expenses, right? Who gives a fuck about $17 for you know, a parking? What the fuck? Who cares? I mean, I do. I don't want to pay for it because I don't make bank, you know. I probably would though. To be honest, like if they didn't pay for it, I'd pay for this Texas one just to fucking be easier on me. Use my points anyway. And then I was reading this article about fucking hair testing. Oh boy. They're getting all serious about this shit here, huh? So, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration is considering recognizing hair testing, right? And what I mean by that is myself, not this company, but the last company, the company before that, you know, so on and so on. For quite a few years here, quite a few companies that I've worked for do hair tests anyway on their own. But here's the thing. If you fail a piss test, right, they're required by law, the company, to report that to the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. Correct? And there's a way for them to do that. There's an avenue for them to do that, to report that. And then it goes in your clearinghouse shit, and then you're pretty much fucked for a while. Anyway, for a while. You can get back in the game, but you gotta go to counseling and do a whole bunch of shit, and then, you know, it's gonna look like shit when you go get a job and be like, oh yeah, I was just blowing some coke, you know, a couple of years ago or a year ago, and I got busted. But you can find some shithole company you work for a while and then work your way back into the game, because then when you go back to a better company, you're like, hey, I worked for this company over here for 2 years and I've been off drugs for 2 years. And people are pretty forgiving. They understand addiction, you know, so they might let you slide back in. But here's the thing, if you fail a fucking hair test right now, there's no way for the companies to report that because it's not recognized by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. So, you can fail a hair test, and you just won't get the job. That's it. It doesn't go to your fucking clearinghouse. So, they're talking about fucking making it so it does go on your record, which they probably will. It's one of them docs that cleans many doors, I'm sure. Dude. Getting reloaded. Imagine that. I get empty, and then I get reloaded. Then I get empty, then I get reloaded. Wow. So these woke people are weird, man. So I'm starting to see all these billboards and shit, right? That say like, I'm a pig or a cow or a fucking chicken, don't eat me, I'm your friend, or blah blah blah, go vegan, or whatever the fuck it is, right? And I was watching on the Asian Maya's YouTube channel about these fuck sticks that were running around the dairy farms drilling holes in all the truck tires and shit to try to stop them from getting fucking melt, right? Come on, man. The weird shit. I pulled into the Road Ranger last night, right? And there's like fucking 50 parking spots or more open in here. Don't mind me, I gotta get around, I gotta get going, I'm on duty. But so there's all those parking spots, and then in the back row, like way back by the woods, there's a whole bunch of trucks, you know, got their truck shut off, backed into the tree line type thing. Because it was nice and cool last night. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna fucking pull in back there, have my windows open, sleep good with the fan on, right? Like laying there for about 10 minutes, and a reefer pulled up next to me. And then about a half hour later, another reefer pulled up on the other side. I got reefer on both fucking sides. And not only that, but they got them on stop and start. Like, who runs their fucking reefer on stop and start? Like, I don't know if I've ever had a fucking load that I ever had on stop and start. I always run mine on continuous. Because if you got it on continuous, you get used to the fucking noise. But, you know, you get used to it running and you can go to sleep. If it keeps starting all night, shuts off again, you know, like my sound effects, then it fucking wakes you up. Like that stupid, what is that fucking optimized idle on the Freightliners? Jesus. That shit's fucking dumb. The last place had the optimized idle, but they gave you the option. You could just idle the truck if you wanted to, so I just idled the truck. Because otherwise that fucking optimized idle, that fucking truck is starting and shutting off all night long. It's bullshit. It almost makes you sick too. I heard a couple other drivers talking about that on YouTube. Because what happens is the fucking truck gets warm like if it's a warm, you know, you got your AC on, it'll get warm, and then all of a sudden the truck will fire up, and then it'll get like cold, and then it'll get warm, and it'll get cold, and it does that shit all fucking night long. That ain't right on the human body. You know, you're kind of made to stay relatively the same temperature. Because I started feeling sick all the time, and I was watching this guy trucks, and he was talking about the same thing in his fucking bullshit truck. But I gotta fucking pull over here on the pavement, because God forbid I get out here and walk on this white fucking limestone and get my boots all dirty. And I gotta fucking do some adjusting. So when you get moved into a new truck, it's always a good idea when you're empty and you first hook on to slide your fifth wheel back and forth and make sure it slides, and possibly lubricate it, right? Because a lot of guys don't move them. Like, you know, you don't really hardly have to move them very often, you know. Myself, I move mine a couple times a year just for the fuck of it. Usually I end up doing it anyway because I have some sort of load like this one that I have to. But just to make sure that fucker's not all seized up. Well, last week, I was a little bit over on my steers, like 120 pounds. But I was like, fuck it, I'll just burn off the fuel and run it, you know, I feel like fucking with it. And then after I got empty, I was like, you know, I really ought to slide that fifth wheel now that I'm empty and fucking, you know, get it all ready and lubricated and shit. But I didn't, right? Now I got this load on. I'm 350 over on my steers, which is a little too much. I'm not gonna be able to burn off that fuel. I did drive like 500 miles with it like that last night, because I was just watching the scales on the old trucker path and they weren't open, so I didn't worry about it. Because it was raining. I didn't want to get out and do it in the rain. I did fuck with it for a while when I left the shipper. For quite a while, trying to get it to slide, and I lubed it all up, and then I just left because it wouldn't slide. So now I gotta actually go over here and drop my trailer and get in there with a hammer and try to fucking beat the dogs out on it. See if I can get it to slide. I wasn't really wanting to start my morning that way. But at least it ain't fucking snowing or raining. Fuck, that was a battle, man. I had to fucking pry the damn dogs out and then beat them back in. And then all of a sudden it goes from a beautiful day to a fucking typhoon, tsunami, hurricane bullshit, whatever. That sucked, man. I still don't know if it's right. That fucking fifth wheel dog return spring is weak as shit. I beat them in there, but man, it makes me a little nervous. It ain't all the way in. Don't know, we'll see. Yep, this is one of them fucking places. One of them fucking places, you know, because out here in the middle of this parking lot, you never know. Something might magically fall out of the fucking sky and hit me in the head. I don't know if you ever noticed, but I ride my motorcycle with no fucking helmet on. So, I think I'm pretty safe here out in this parking lot. But I got this vest on, so that makes me safer. Let me tell you about my fucking dumb idea yesterday. So on the 8094 south of Chicago, heading east, you know, it's all fucked up down there, you know, around Gary, Indiana, that area, right? And they got construction and it's backed up. And I had this bright ass idea when I was coming up 57 yesterday. I decided, you know, I think I'll cut across 24, do a little bit of Indiana back roading, catch 31, you know, come up through Amish country, 131 that way, right? Terrible fucking idea. Terrible fucking idea, man. That was like slow ass, 100 towns. Just fucking, I think I lost an hour. Seriously, I lost more time detouring than what I would have just sitting in the traffic, right? So, you see all my shit in the back. Fuck that job. I'm just kidding. That's been pretty much how my life's been going lately though, huh? I don't know. I think this is the one. I do. And like I always say, sometimes you just gotta fucking bounce around, man, and until you find some shit. Now, I will tell you, it's a little bit fucking different, because as you can see, I am in a fucking Chevy Silverado and not a Kenworth, right? So I'm heading home right now. And I only put 2,400 miles on last week, which was super fucking easy and all that. Don't get me wrong, but I got to keep my income threshold up a little bit higher than that, right? But I see how it works, and it's just a little different than what I'm used to is all. Now, take out the whole milk thing. Everybody's all on the milk, like, dude, you was making fucking big money on the milk, brother. Yeah, I know I was. I was also paying huge taxes and fucking working my ass off, too. But, don't get me wrong, there's still times where I look at my paycheck and go, fuck, man, I probably ought to be back hauling that milk. It's always there, I think. But anyway, so this is what I got to get used to, because typically in my career, if you take out the milk, what I always have done is an outbound, you know, like I would outbound and then I would bounce around the country if I was staying out for like 2 weeks, right? But most of my career, I just outbounded and then right back to Michigan type shit. So I'd do like Texas, Florida, California, something like that. And then just come right back to Michigan, you know, and do your restart or take your days off. So they bring me back today, you know, and then I did that local load, which was fucking easy. It was definitely worth the money. And then I get back and he's like, yeah, I'm probably not gonna have nothing going out until tomorrow, but if you want to just reset, you know, I got like a California or New Mexico or Oregon or something like that, you know, a long one. I was like, well, in that case, I might as well just reset, because then, you know, I don't gotta fucking drive 20 hours and then reset out on the road. Might as well reset at home, right? But then I was like, damn, man, I didn't get very many miles in this week. But then I got to thinking about it, right? This is just different than what I'm used to. It'll balance out because I did a quick 34 last week. So I did, you know, 1900 was my check last week, actually. Ended up being with all those stops and everything. So that was a pretty good week, right? You know, for regular trucking. And then, so this week's a little bit light. But then if I'm only doing a quick 34 here right now, then I'll be cooking and booking again here in a day and a half, basically. So then I do a long run out there, and I get probably 5,000 miles, really, because I don't know. I'd have to think about that, but somewhere around there. So you see what I'm saying? Last week, next week, will make up for what I lost on this week. So at the end of the month, when you balance it out, I'm going to be doing all right.